it's Jessii V, and in today's video we're going to be talking about the Barbie dream house. The other day while I was doing research for videos, I came across this really scary story about this girl that had a creepy experience with her Barbie dream house. So of course I had to come on here to tell you guys. So we're gonna go into the evolution of Barbie dream houses because there have been so many over the decades, and then I'll be telling you this very disturbing story. And if you currently have a Barbie dream house in your house somewhere, I am so sorry. Also, whenever I wear this shirt, I feel like a swamp queen for some reason. It just reminds me of like moss. I don't know how to describe it. Before we get started though, I just want to remind you guys that we have some new items up on the website. If you did not see one of my previous videos, we have this brand new crescent moon plushie. I love it so much. It says I love you to the moon and back, and it has this really cute little holographic star. You guys know how much I love crescent moons because of my tattoo. And also my mom, Mama V, has just added some new items to her line because Mother's Day is coming up. So she has a multi-layered necklace, she has new earrings, and she has these really gorgeous mom and grandma stemless wine glasses. They don't have to be used for wine, they can be used for anything. But what great gifts to give your mom or your grandma or to get yourself. It doesn't have to be for Mother's Day, it's just an option. So yeah, if you want to check out any of our new products, I have linked it down below. Alright guys, so let's get right into today's video. Let's first get into the evolution of Barbie dream houses. Now, if you've owned any of these versions, please comment down below. I'm really curious which ones of you had some of these, because I had one. I definitely had one, and I'll let you know which one that is. The original dream house from 1962 was made with cardboard and paper, so you could literally fold it up and carry it with you. This was a very convenient Barbie dream house, but unfortunately, because it was made of paper and cardboard, it broke a lot, and people lost the pieces constantly. There's been stories about dogs eating the Barbie dream house, about kids spilling water on it, and it literally just turns into mush. But of course, they had to start somewhere, and they started with cardboard. By 1974, Barbie was living in a townhouse that had a working elevator. When people saw there was a working elevator, they freaked out because obviously they went from paper to like literally something so much cooler. Of course, you had to move the elevator on your own, but that was still pretty cool. In 1979, she had an A-frame dream house, and the decor was very chic. People would say that the house had very modern furniture for its time. Whenever I see like A-frame houses like this, it reminds me of cottages, or like that creepy witch house from Hansel and Gretel. Have you guys seen that movie? And then in 1983, she moved back into a townhouse. And then in 1984, she got a dream cottage. I feel like I would want my Barbies to have a dream cottage over like a dream house. Cottages are just so cozy. I love cottages. Then in 1990, she got a magical mansion, and it was one of the most elaborate dream houses of the 1990s because it had electronic features like working lights and sound. This was a total change of pace. When they came out with this, people went crazy over it because obviously you had cardboard, townhouses, cottages, and then a mansion with electricity. Then in 1998, she had a deluxe dream house, and this was the one that I had growing up. But I have to tell you something, it took a while for me to get there because I had this babysitter who had, I believe, the Barbie mansion, and whenever I would go to her house, I was so jealous. I always wanted to play with it. I'd be so sad when my parents would come and pick me up because I just wanted to be with the Barbie mansion. And then finally, for my birthday, I got the deluxe dream house, and I absolutely adored it. Looking at pictures, I still remember it perfectly. Well, then some major changes happened between 1998 and 2008. The dream house became a 3-story structure. There's a winding staircase, it had an elevator as well, it played music, and had a toilet that flushed. So they were constantly adding all of these really cool new features. Then in 2016, there was another version of the dream house, and then today, which is the most recent version, was built to house Barbie's friends and family too, because the original houses were just like for her mainly. But this one even has a garage, which is for her car, obviously. What's crazy is that apparently a Barbie dream house is sold every 2 minutes. And yeah, it was just one of the most popular things ever. So comment down below if you owned any of these or if you have like the most recent one. Okay, so now I'm gonna tell you the creepy story. There's a story about a girl that begged her mother for a Barbie dream house for years and years, and finally on her 8th birthday, her mother got her one as a gift. And it was the 1990 version, the Magical Mansion. She was so excited, she immediately started playing with it. And she sat there for hours and hours, and when it finally came time for her bedtime, she placed her Barbies in their bedrooms and went to sleep and pushed the Barbie mansion against the wall, so they were all safely sleeping inside, and it was just like a normal house. Now, the first night when she was trying to sleep, she could have sworn that she heard these strange rustling sounds coming from somewhere in her room, but she sort of brushed it off because she thought that maybe it was her dog playing in the hallway or in a different room in her house. And the next day, she got up super early to once again play with her Barbies, and when she opened up the mansion, she noticed that all of her Barbies were in a sitting position. There was one sitting in the bed, there was one sitting on the couch, there was one sitting at the kitchen table, and she was confused because she distinctly remembered putting them all in a lying position in their beds before she went to bed. But nevertheless, she continued to play. The next night, not only did she hear rustling once again, but she also began to hear these very small knocking noises. She wondered if it was maybe animals outside, or maybe noises coming from downstairs because her parents were watching a movie. But the knocking didn't stop, so she got out of her bed to investigate the noise. The closer she got to her Barbie dream house, the louder the knocking became. So she knelt to the floor and put her ear up to the house, and sure enough, the sound was coming from inside. So trying to be rational, she thought that maybe a mouse had gotten inside of her Barbie mansion. So she called her parents, they grabbed a broom, they opened up the house and were ready to capture a mouse. But when they turned the house around, there was nothing inside except for her Barbies. But they had all fallen out of the house because of the sudden movement. And what was so unsettling is that they all fell in a position where their heads were turned towards her. And she just felt her stomach drop because something did not feel right. The next morning, she wasn't excited to go play with her Barbies. In fact, she decided to go and do something different. And when it was time for bed, she threw a blanket over the Barbie mansion and then climbed into bed. Once again, those dreaded sounds. First, it was a small amount of movement. Then there was a scratching noise. Then there was a knocking sound. And as she lifted her head to look over at the blanket that covered her mansion, she saw that the house was physically shaking, as if the dolls were trying to get out. So she pulled her covers over her head and tried to tell herself that she was only dreaming, and that's when she heard it. The hair-raising sound of her Barbies whispering inside the house. She couldn't hear it very well at first, but the more she concentrated, the clearer it became.
We don't want to be locked away, trapped inside a cage. Let us free.
She thought that she was going crazy because obviously Barbies can't talk. Why was she hearing this? And what was worse is that it sounded like they were whispering at the exact same time, all saying the same thing.
We know you hear us. We can see you.
So she ran over and ripped off the blanket, trying to see if she was going crazy or not. And she almost jumped out of her skin when she saw that all 4 Barbies were staring out of the mansion's windows at her, like their faces were just pressed against the glass. So she screamed for her mom, and when her mom ran in and opened the mansion, the dolls were just sound asleep in their bed. Because the girl was so upset, her mother removed the dolls and put them in containers in their garage. And when the girl went to school the next day and told her best friend what happened, she was shocked to hear what her friend said next. You're never supposed to keep the dolls in there when you're done playing. They come to life and they're not nice. They're angry. They want to switch places with you. Always take them out of the house before you go to bed. And that is how the story ends. And that is so freaky because I owned one of these Barbie dream houses as a kid. And if I had heard this story as a kid, I would have been terrified. So once again, apologies if you do own one of these houses. Obviously it's just a sort of a creepypasta to freak you out. So if you have one, just enjoy it. Don't be too afraid. But yeah, if you guys like me doing these weird twisted nostalgia videos, give this video a thumbs up and let me know. And don't forget, if you would like any of the new merch we have on our website, I have linked it down below. But I hope you guys have an awesome rest of your day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!